Hey guys, welcome back to another episode. I wanted to jump in. Pussy first. Hot chicken.
Huh? Welcome where? The fuck?
Another episode of the Nani Network. We are your hosts, Eli and Shay. And today we are bringing you two super popular anime, Demon Slayer and Fire Force. Alright, so we're going to kick things off with Demon Slayer. Demon Slayer follows the story of young Tanjiro Kamado, who becomes a Demon Slayer after his family is attacked and murdered.
Murder? Murdered who? You looked at me like... I said they were. What do you want me to do?
Save his young sister, Nezuko. You want to tell them about the plot?
So yes, I'll continue. Per usual, we're going to be giving you guys the 5 things you must know about this anime, Demon Slayer. Shay, let them know.
All right, so the first thing that you need to know about Demon Slayer is the time period. So this anime is actually set during the Taisho period. For any of my history buffs out there, this was a period in Japan that was really marked by swordsmanship. So the primary method of fighting in this anime for the protagonist is the use of swordplay and various breathing techniques that go along with it.
And they're wearing like fucking kimonos and like other shit. So you see, it explains why. Because I always wonder about that in animes. Like,
so when you see them walking through a backwater town, you know why. This is not 21st century.
Where's
baby.
The electricity?
You got this lamp. You want this lantern?
This lantern, right? Not even a fucking lantern. It's a lantern.
That's why he's selling charcoal, not pencils.
The second thing you must know about Demon Slayer is that Tanjiro's family was slaughtered. Murder! / Nezuko, his sister, is a demon. So Tanjiro went to sell his charcoal one day and he comes home and he has a really acute sense of smell. So he smelt blood at his house before he even got there. So he's like, what the fuck is going on? And he finds, and he had a plentiful family. His parents got it on.
They was fucking.
He had like maybe 4 or 5 siblings.
6.
So 6.
Like, no, he had 5, including him. They had 6 kids.
Yeah. So he went there and 4 were dead. And his sister is laying there half dead.
Oh, and their mom also.
Their mom, yeah. You know, everyone's going. And the dad had already been slaughtered. Not slaughtered, but he had died before the show even took place. So he pulls up, his entire family slaughtered. He saves his sister. He tries to figure out what's going on with her. And that basically sets the premise for the entire show. So that's why it's entirely important that you know that his family was killed. And you know, it makes for a good little story. We need our protagonist to be scarred and in some pain. So
abandoned.
It gives him purpose. It's Nindo.
That's one. And like we said, you know, we love an orphan. You know, it gives you drive. Like, ain't nobody want no happy families over here. What? Mm-hmm. You in a 2-parent household?
Right, because at the end of the day, now this is a quest for him to essentially not lose his single remaining family member more than anything else. Like, you know, he just doesn't want to be left the fucking alone in the world.
You know he gonna go ham for that last one.
Go keep her alive by all means.
Listen, because it was the same thing. Oh God, now you have me making a Naruto reference. It was the same thing with like Naruto after Sasuke left.
I don't have you doing that.
It was the same thing for Naruto, like after Sasuke left, and then he was just like super focused on like protecting Sakura. Or maybe not.
Was he?
I feel like he was.
Naruto gave a flying fuck.
No, he didn't. He was always risking life and limb for that bitch.
Not in the way he was risking it for Sasuke. He would. Not in the way he was risking it for Sasuke. For all he cared, they left her behind so many times, and so did he. He would bring her on the mission and leave her at the field.
To protect her.
No.
This is not a Naruto review.
You always bring up Naruto.
Oh, all right, so the third thing that you need to know about Demon Slayer is who is the anime's big bad. So for this show, their primary antagonist is a demon who goes by the name of Muzan something. Yes. So Muzan in this anime was the original demon. He's, you know, he was the Christ of the demons, right? Where everything started. Whoa. I was going to get into them he has these I was gonna call them disciples, but now you made me feel weird about the Christ reference. He has his army or his minions basically, who are called the 12 demon moons or the 12 Kizuki. These are yikes. This is why I listen to Dub.
Yeah.
So these are basically his chosen fighters. They're the ones that go up to bat with him, go up to bat for him whenever, you know, somebody's working on his nerves, which is frequently, yeah. So the way you become a Kizuki is when Muzan gives you a drop of his blood, which amplifies your natural demon abilities.
Well, not a drop of his blood, but like more of his blood. Because to become a demon, you need his blood.
He be looking stingy with it.
But some of them, he be letting them like suck on his fucking finger. Like,
I didn't see that.
he did it once where he like put it. Well, I don't think it wasn't one of the 12 demon moons, but it was like some random guy in the alleyway, and he gave him like mad of his blood, and it was just like
that was to kill him.
Yeah, that was to kill him.
That was too much. Like,
but at the end, he gave it to he gave that dude a lot more.
He gave him a drop.
He gave him a lot more. He told him. He said, if you survive this amount, then you can go on and do this mission. But if it kills you, then I don't give a fuck.
Before I was rudely interrupted, he needs to give them his blood, which again amplifies their natural demon abilities, and I guess builds on the quirks that they already have. So the demons, unlike the protagonists of the story, utilize
blood demon magic.
So their prowess varies greatly from demon to demon, more so than the protagonist. So we have, you know, demons who use weaving magic, who use blood magic, who use different spider magic, all kinds of weird shit. Like if there's something, like there was one who used an instrument in his chest, which was like a drum that changed basically the
dimensions of a specific place.
Yes. So it amplifies these demons' capabilities, which makes them a really big problem for humans. I'm surprised that in this world they are not completely extinct, but that's neither here nor there.
Alright, so the fourth thing you must know about Demon Slayer is when you have a big bad who has a gang, you need to have protagonists who have a squad behind them too. So in this one, we have the Demon Slayer Corps, and they're top tier people, which are referred to as the Hashiras. So the Demon Slayer Corps were created, and they're led by this super mysterious guy, but they were obviously created to combat the demon plague that's going on Earth right now, but they're actually not really officially recognized by the government or anything like that. They kind of work in the shadows and do the good deeds with no recognition.
As of course is tradition.
But at the top of them, they have the Hashiras, and the Hashiras are the adept, the most advanced, and the most powerful of the demon corps. So to become a Hashira, you have to slay like 50 demons at least, or you have to slay one of the 12 demon moons of Muzans to gain that title, because I hate that too. I hate when there's like weak people at the top and like you see them fall down and the protagonist has to help them. Like, I think if you got to be at the top, you got to prove yourself. So I don't like people who get a title with no work put in. Fuck out of here. And that might just be coming from the world we live in. But they have, so with us, or I say us because we would obviously be, we're not fucking demons, so we would be humans. So with us, we have we have total concentration breathing. So that kind of gives us our power set, but it's developed by humans. So we have a set amount, and I guess it's limited by humanity's creativity. So you have love, you have water, you have sound, you have flame, you have mist, you have insect. But, you know, it's not nearly as diverse as the demons that they go up against. But that just kind of shows how powerful you have to be to, one, survive in this time, and two, to become a fucking Hashira. Because shit is real out here.
Something that's cute that goes like hand in hand with like their development and their practice and like them, like the things that they have to go through to become a Hashira is the breathing, like the breathing techniques that they have to work on, because inherently, even like regular demons who haven't had Muzan's blood are just naturally more physically adept.
And if they eat humans, they get even more strength.
So the Hashiras, they have this thing that's called total concentration breathing. Not just the Hashiras, like the entire Demon Slayer corps, but I will say that the Hashiras probably have mastered it better than the underlings, the sissies.
You always so rude to people. Why they gotta be sissies?
Because, like, what is you even
If
here
you're
for?
not at the top, you a sissy?
Hello? So the total concentration breathing basically makes their bodies more agile and stronger enough so that they can fight toe to toe with these demons. Because if they just had that sword, that little toothpick,
The metal is very strong.
they would be clapped and bapped, okay? And the last thing that you need to know about Demon Slayer is the premise, right? So we kind of went over this a little earlier. What is Tanjiro's purpose? What is his drive? What motivates him in the morning? Like we said, he had a shit, not life, but he had a shit situation that happened to him. But the silver lining of all of that, we guess, is that at least one person survived, and now it is his driving goal to not only save her from being a demon to like restore her humanity, but he also mentioned, which I thought was so fucking adorable, that he wants to give her like the best possible life that she could have. Like that is now his, like he wants to take care of her. Like even after she became a demon and his master told him like, you know, you don't have to protect her. Like
she's a fucking demon.
Bitch is strong. She's stronger than you. But you know, that's your little sister, right? You don't give a shit like how strong she is. Like you don't want her to fight. And for a while he didn't have her fighting. But there was a couple of times she had to come in and save his ass.
But his drive is to find a cure for his sister to provide all these glorious things for her.
I was getting it.
You was passionate. I loved it. It was a nice little speech.
Yes. So Tanjiro needs to find a cure for Nezuko. How does that happen? So he's working on a twofold solution. I love a man with a plan. So one thing that he's trying to do is that he has another demon he met who is working on a cure for him by using blood samples sent to her by Tanjiro of members of Muzan's 12 demon moons. His option number 2 is to beat that man ass. Like, when he saw him in the street, it was on sight. And I love me an on-site motherfucker. Because that was episode 3 and he knew he was going to lose that fight.
Yes.
And he did not care.
Tanjiro was ready.
He
was. The middle of the town square.
He got his food and everything.
He said, "Is that you?" Muzan was with his child and like wife, and Tanjiro like pressed him in the middle of the street.
Sidebar: was that his child? Mr. needs a paternity test.
Okay, so he was blinded. But yes, and Nezuko is the best character in this show.
She's fucking adorable.
Low key, high key. Because yeah, they really play her up, and she's also powerful, so she played with her. And she is different from all other demons because she does not eat humans. She fell into a long slumber, and Tanjiro's sensei, or the person who taught him how to use total concentration breathing and prepped him for the demon corpse, like whispered a mantra to her that all humans are your family. Don't attack humans, don't eat humans, this and that. And so when she finally woke up, she refused to eat humans no matter how much she's tempted. And boy, oh boy, do they try and tempt little shorty with the humans. But she just won't do it. And she gains her strength, it's assumed, through sleeping. And we see it gradually increase over time in the show because Nezuko, me and Shanice both kind of agree on this, is like such an underused character, even though she is quote unquote in every episode. We don't get to see as much from her as we want to, and I so want to see from her.
Exactly. She be clapping stronger than some of these men.
You know, she just pops her foot out her little cabin and busts somebody's head off, and it'd be like, huh? And then she's gone for the rest of the episode. It's crazy. But
they be acting real cute and confident until Nezuko pop up. Right. What you said?
They say, is that a demon? I can't tell.
Said, who fucking with my brother?
Simple.
Hello.
But that wraps it up for the 5 things you must know when going into Demon Slayer.
Next thing on the agenda is character you fuck with.
Ooh. Who it is. Who's the character you fuck with the most?
Ooh, I gotta go first?
I don't know how you feel. I can go first.
Okay.
So the character I fuck with the most is somebody who's a main character, but I also want to see more from him, and I can understand people might be a little shocked that I chose him. But I'm going with Zenitsu. Zenitsu is... Yeah, fuck out of here. Zenitsu is one of the main guys in Tanjiro's little friend clique, and he uses thunder breathing. And he's a punk. Lightning breathing. Terribly sorry. But he is a punk and he's afraid to like go into battle, and he kind of like passes out, and when he passes out, that's when you see his true power. And these characters are annoying, and he did annoy me a little bit.
These characters.
Because you see them in a few animes, like, you know, they're cowards, but they're powerful. So I'm just waiting for that moment, because I know it's coming, when he could do that shit without punking out, without falling asleep. Like this last thing that happened when that spider venom almost took over him completely, I feel like it changed him.
When he can do it like consciously.
Yeah, when he could consciously control his power. And if you know, like if you watch the show, you'll see he hasn't even completed the lightning breathing and all. He only knows one stance.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to see even more, because that thunder clap bop bop that he has is crazy in itself. So I want to see the rest of it be spat out, and he just needs that confidence. And I think the Demon Slayer Corpse is what he needs, and I think season 2 is what he needs, and it's gonna be.
You think that's gonna be his debut?
It's gonna be his reintroduction.
Ooh, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Pussy.
My name is Z. Enter the Etsu.
Yeah. All right, so for my character that I fuck with, Elijah's gonna judge me for this one, but I chose Gyu. So Gyu is already established in the anime. He's a Hashira, you know. He's a career man, if I do say so myself. He, to me, I like his disposition. He's obviously powerful because in one of the episodes we do see that he has a little scuffle with another one of the Hashiras when he is defending Tanjiro and Nezuko, and that's another thing, a man with honor. I love that. He checks all my boxes. I'm excited to see what more he can do, because he easily clapped a member of the 12 Demon Moon. So just his potential, like everything that we've seen him do so far was amazing, and he wasn't even trying yet. So
yeah.
And he's cute.
Right, and I think that's the reason why you think I would have an issue with this, because initially she said I'm choosing him because he's cute. It's like, huh? But nah,
I have my supporting facts.
There they go. But nah, I feel you. But I just know he's like already established. But you're right, he actually hasn't tried in the fight, and that's what I like to see too. Like that person who thinks he's better than everybody.
Yeah, he's
and then
humble.
They get really challenged. He is humbled.
Oh, I thought you were saying that he wasn't, because my man's has some self-esteem issues.
Yeah, he does.
People don't even like you.
I like that too. When you gotta like take him down a peg, it's like, yeah, he's mad powerful, but nobody likes
him. She said, "Fuck you" in a headlock.
You said you didn't know?
We're talking about Shinobu, the fight between Gyu and Shinobu. Well, the scuffle, because I don't know what the fuck that was, but
yeah, it wasn't real. But he didn't really want to fight her. He like put her in a headlock.
Tell that to her neck. That was under his arm.
Compared to his blade? In his hilt?
Oh, you're right. Let me just choke you out. You know what? We don't even have to go back and forth about this. I know what I saw, Elijah.
He was kind.
And men like you.
What? Whoa there. We're going to progress right on to Lock That Bitch In. We're going to lock in our predictions for what the fuck's going to come in season 2 and yonder. Shay, what you got?
All right, so my Lock That Bit In is going to be somebody's going to die. And I'm going to say that it's one of the Hashiras, because when they introduce a lot of characters like that, like it's 12 Hashiras. It's a lot of them motherfuckers.
There is.
Like, and as we saw from the end of season 1, Muzan chopped his team in half. So I think that it's going to make it too much like, okay, well, now that, you know, he's essentially chopped his forces in half. Yes, they're regular demons, but they're not really that much of a threat to the Hashiras when compared to the 12 Demon Moons. So they're going to need to level that playing field up a little bit. Right. And that's either going to be by bringing Muzan into play. He's like, fuck you, useless ass bitches. I'm going to have to just do, when you want something done right, do it yourself. So something's going to happen. I think that they're going to clip a Hashira or two. I'm not going to lock in which Hashira. I'm going to keep that to myself just in case I'm wrong. Actually, no, fuck it. They're going to kill the Flame Hashira. I'm done now.
He's done with you?
He's done. He's done.
You were never impressed with him. Alright, well, what I'm going to lock in And it's a little out there, but it's just something that I noticed, one of the smaller little plot points that they have. And Tanjiro's sun breathing that he has, I'm going to say that it's going to have some sort of negative effect on his health or some effect on him overall. Because you can see that his father, well, we learned late in the series, like the last few episodes, why his father died. And his father was like really sick and really fragile. And they don't elaborate on what sickness it is, but he looked bone skinny. And I don't know if using that breathing he did, because we see his father dancing and using that technique, if that breathing technique has some sort of effect on your body more so than the other breathing techniques. Maybe instead of enhancing your body, it sucks out, your life force. I don't know. But as you can see, it was incredibly powerful against one of the 12 Demon moons. Let him be one of the lower moons. But it gave him a huge power jump. So, power jumps sometimes come with a cost to that health. So
that is true. That's absolutely true. They're like, oh, you want to be strong? Ha, 3 years to live.
Did
they do that to somebody? Oh.
Attack on Titan, they did that in
Fire
there.
Force too.
Oh, man, oh man.
Dang, you can't have shit.
You can't have nothing. So, it's not unheard of. So I'm going to lock that in as a possible option for what's going to happen to Tanjiro.
All right, last but not least, one of our favorite segments, the Nani rating. What do we give this show? How much did it grab you by the John? Elijah, Nani rating?
They grabbed me pretty firmly, Shay. I must say. This show, it's new, and it's actually really cool, because I don't really go for shows like this where they are kind of like older time periods like this, and their main source is swords. Like, I don't really go for that.
What are you talking about? You fully fuck with Naruto, and that shit is old as dirt.
Yeah, but they're not using swords. They're using chakra, which is like gives them all these incredibly vast different powers. Like, even in this show, like I said, their powers are kind of limited as compared to the demons. So thank God the demons are there to, supply. Because that's what I need. I need a lot of differentiation in the battle. And, already we see two people like you and Tanjiro both use water breathing. Right. So like I like that differentiation and that, but it's pretty cool. So I don't usually gravitate towards these shows, but the storytelling and the characters are really cool to me. And I love me some Nezuko, and I like the progress. What lowered the rating for me is towards the end. They kind of do this whole training and level up session. And what most shows do that in like the middle of the series, they decided to end the series with them training and leveling up. So that lowered it. So I think I'm going to sit them at like a 7.4 is where I'm going to sit them at. A nice 7.4. Room for improvement. They got season 2 coming, and I know they're probably going to deliver because there's so much to go on to. But as of right now, just off of that ending, and you know how the plot goes a little bit, like there's a lot of gaps. So I don't know if there's going to be a season 3, but if there's not going to be a season 3, you guys have a lot. You got some explaining to do. Come season 2, So that's what I'm locking them in at, 7.4.
7.4. I'm surprised. I actually thought that you would give them a higher rating.
Well, I'm here to surprise.
Shut the I do concur with Elijah on a lot of those points. Demon Slayer as an anime did have moments where it was kind of like slow to start and build up. And obviously, it is their first season, so you don't need to, or some anime, you don't need to start the main character off like on fucking steroids, right? They have to be that build up. Like, he was a regular ass kid besides like his fucking bloodhound sense of smell.
Right.
But you have to build a kid up from average.
He was like, as they said, he was thrust into this world.
Yeah, like you have to build a kid up from average and coach him to eventually kill the demon that's been around for millennia that no one else can fight. So there is going to be that training piece in there. There are going to be those slower episodes.
Well, this anime lets it happen.
That's something else.
Us see it, which is cool.
With that, we saw when he gets injured, he has a very natural and a very human-like recovery period, right? He's still hurt during the next battle. It's not like, okay, 2 days of bed rest and now my fucking ribs are healed. like that's not normal. But in it being so relatable, it also takes away that Vavoom aspect where it's just like you want to see them bounce back up, right? You want to see them fight again because bitch,
action.
You don't have no off days here. What you think this is? Like, go to work. So it's a love-hate thing for me. I like the build, but it is a little slower. I'm gonna give their Nani rating a 7, because, and that's not, to me, that's not a bad rating. I think the show has really good bones. I'm gonna watch season 2. If I did not like it, I wouldn't have watched. And that's something else. Like, even though it had slow moments, it kept me interested enough that I was able to finish it, and I was able to finish it fast. Because there's anime that, like, I'll get midway and I'll take that pause, I'll take that break, and I'll maybe pick back up if I see that they're releasing something new. But I didn't have that issue with Demon Slayer. It's just that the way the story is being told is naturally slower, which again could be a pro or con for certain people. But I'm excited about the anime, and I have no doubt, I have full confidence in them that my rating will go up next season, because the amount of fucking lube that they put on me to get me ready for season 2, or for the movie actually, is what I think that they're gonna do for the next arc. I know that they're about to come, all the way fucking out the gate, because they made all 3 main characters level up. They're clean, fed, new clothes, and
they haven't had action in weeks.
Right to go, okay? Right to go. And we see that one of the Hashiras is
already present.
Gonna be with them in this fight. So I know that they're giving me some mouth service on this next one. So it's a 7, but I'm confident that that's gonna go up.
Nah, definitely, yeah. But that about wraps up Demon Slayer for right now.
So we're going to roll into Fire Force. So the description for Fire Force is that it takes place in the year 198 of Solar Era Tokyo. So this is a post-apocalyptic anime. So that is the new territory, I guess, what the name of that new civilization is after the world ends. So the Special Fire Force is created to fight a phenomenon known as spontaneous human combustion.
Wow.
So this is where humans are turned into living infernos, also known as infernals.
Yeah.
That's what the description says. So the infernals are known as first generation cases of spontaneous human combustions, and they are later generations who possess different abilities. So our main protagonist, Shinra Kusakabe, is one of these youths, and he joins the Special Fire Force in an effort to fight the good fight.
Perfect. So, as usual, we're going to be giving you guys the 5 things you must know about Fire Force. So, the first things you must know, as she's kind of mentioned in the description, is that it takes place in a post-apocalyptic world. What happened is what they call the Great Cataclysm.
Yes, ma'am.
And what that is 250 years before our anime takes place, there was basically the world spontaneously combusted. And like, continents were burning. Like, as we all know, we have 7 continents. Like, all of them burn, and for some reason, Tokyo, or the Tokyo Empire, wasn't affected as harshly as the rest of the world.
They formed from like the fragmented pieces of
society that was left.
Literally, because like even animals were wiped out. Like they've never seen like
elephants,
whales, and
all these things. Like things are a myth. So
like,
indigenous creatures don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
On another scale than we have in our present day right now. And the world spontaneously combusted, and they came back underneath Tokyo Empire. They were able to take power from what basically destroyed the earth and build Amaterasu, a machine that was able to sustain life and energy in this fragmented little piece of land they were able to live on.
So the next thing that is important to highlight about Fire Force is the Infernals. So the Infernals are first generation cases of spontaneous combustion. They can't control themselves. They're essentially like walking coal pieces, like
9 pieces of coal. Damn.
So
they would hate you for saying that.
I don't know a nice way to say it. Like they're black and burning, and literally, so that's what they are. So in order to combat that, again, the Special Fire Force was created, not to be confused with the regular ass fire department, because they make sure to shit on them plenty.
Oh god, it's so funny. They're like, you called us for a regular little fire,
right? Like
call this pussy,
right? Or like they're like, if Inferno is not on the scene, this ain't our job. Well, some of them are elitist like that, but some squads are more down to earth and they'll help out, but that's generally not what they were created for. They were created solely for the purpose of combating
it
the
kind of like
infernals.
sets up the show to show us like the classism that even takes place in
Right.
saving
People
people's
just gotta
lives.
be a dickhead no matter what the time period is.
Oh wow, you can't put out a regular fire. Look at you.
So there are 8 Fire Force squads with and they're called companies. So Company 8 would be the newest squad, and that's where the squad that our protagonist Shinra joins.
All right. Next up for our third must know, we have Shira's family was incinerated. Murder. That's what establishes his purpose, and that's what makes him join the Fire Force.
You see a theme with this episode, guys.
Yeah, families know. And you know what? We said we needed it. So his family, one day he woke up, he believed it was because of his, it was put on him that it was because of his pyrokinetic abilities activating that he burnt down his family house, killing his mother and brother.
Which was such a dickhead thing to do. Like, they knew that he wasn't necessarily the cause of the fire, but they thought that it would be easier for him to digest him murdering his
not
family.
Easier, safer. They wanted to keep him
for them,
safe.
Right?
Yeah.
Was it safe for him?
No, safe for him and out of the way because they saw it was a plot. Either way, they messed up this kid's life for no reason.
Yeah, like he has this what is it? The twitch, like this nervous tick that he does. Yeah, it's a nervous tick where he smiles when he's in awkward situations, so it makes him look like a demon. Which is a nickname that they give him throughout the show. Yeah,
devil.
Oh, is it me? So, next thing that you need to know about Fire Force are the pyrokinetic generations. So, as we mentioned, first generations are the Infernals. They have no control over self and are essentially just
pieces of coal,
corpses, like murdering people. After we have the first generation, we have the second generation pyrokinetics, which are people who have the ability to manipulate and extinguish already existing flames. So they can't create their flames, but they do need an ignition source. So an example of that is we have Maki. She is, I think, the third in command on Shinra's squad. So once she has an ignition, she uses familiars that she calls Sputter and Flare, which are like these little fireballs. They're really cute. I would get a plushie of it. Sputter and Flare, and that is what she uses as her weapon of choice.
Yeah. And it's like badass because even if she doesn't like have her own ignition source, if somebody's using flame around her, she kind of is able to swipe him out. In one case, she was fighting Shinra and he was trying to attack her with his feet, and she was able to put out his flames before he could connect, and boom.
Also to note, they can also manipulate the flames of Infernals, so they can. It's an ability that they have that they can use against first and third generation pyrokinetics. So they're not like pussies or nothing.
Right. But I still wouldn't want to be a second generation to BH. Like, I'd want to be able to produce my own flames.
That's very elitist of you.
I really want to produce my own flames. I'd be tight.
So that brings
us one of those things.
Third generation pyrokinetics, and as Elijah mentioned, third generation pyrokinetics have the ability to create and manipulate their own flames via a body part or an object. So we have Arthur, who uses like the hilt of a scabbard to make a blade of flame.
That's useless.
Come out. It's not useless. He definitely can stand to develop the skill.
She sounds like a mom.
But yeah, so that's how Arthur uses his third generation abilities. We have Tamaki, who has like a cat-like essence. So she has her flames come out of her as like ears and a tail that she uses to.
Well, it enhances her agility. It makes her more cat-like.
Cat-like reflexes.
It does the job.
Then we have fourth generation pyrokinetics. So fourth generation pyrokinetics are a rarity, and these are people who have an Adola burst.
They're new.
And have established an Adola link with this entity known as the Preacher.
The Preacher,
Right, Matt
The
Wilkinson.
religious like undertones in this show
there's a
is
lot.
like
That should have been a point. We'll put that as an honorary point. There's a lot of like religious undertones in this as well.
It's like, okay. And it makes sense because, like, that's what you see in humanity. Like, when we go through crises and all these things, like, people turn to religion.
Yeah.
Like, in a major way.
Yeah, it's the reflection that you don't want to see.
Yeah.
So, how, like, cultish people can get at times.
Word. But last but not least, Adola. Well, Adola Links, Adola Burst.
What are they? Give me some. What are they? Because it's confusing.
This show like coined these terms, but it makes sense once you kind of break it down. So our main character Shinra has an Adola Burst. Now, an Adola Burst is basically a flame that's pure. It came from the flame that was used in the Great Cataclysm, basically the original flame that fucked up all of humanity.
Which is like, why would you want to be fucking around with that?
Yeah, it's like you have an Adola Burst, but it makes you more powerful.
Zombie apocalypses start. People messing with things they don't need to be messing with.
Unnecessary shit. So Adola Burst is basically that. So only a few people have it. Not everyone has it. People can manipulate flames. You can be a third generation, but not everyone has an Adola Burst. Shinra does. His brother Sho does. It's typically like bloodline associated a little bit, I do believe. But an Adola Link is a link formed with somebody else who has an Adola Burst. So when Shinra first saw his little brother Sho, they formed an Adola Link because Sho was aware of it, but Shinra eventually was able to manipulate it and figure out how to form his own Adola Link with Sho, which leads to him becoming a fourth generation pyrokinetic, because once you're able to form that link with Sho, who has a link with somebody else, you get a little bit of that essence and that power. It really links them all, and I believe that's probably what they're all aiming. That's why he's collecting Adola Burst, probably. But I'll save that for later. And lastly, Adola. Adola is basically hell.
Where am
it's
I?
hell.
Where am I?
Oh, I'm in hell.
I'm in hell. Yo, quote Charmy. But basically, it's their version of hell. That's where the preacher or this like eternal being is from.
Well, I don't want to say devil because they use devil to describe other. Maybe like great devil.
He's somebody from a demon of some sort, and the ringleader. So he lives in Adola, and he brought Shinra and them there, and that's pretty fucking crazy. But that kind of like wraps up the 5 things you need to know about Fire Force, because it's a lot. That anime is a lot.
Yeah, it is. It's a thick one.
But it's good.
I think it was about, 22, 23 episodes? Yeah. And they fit a lot of content into their first season. Like, it's kind of crazy how the show does progress relatively fast.
They pack it in.
They do pack it in. It was like, nary an episode stepped off your neck.
Yeah. Yeah, it was cool. And it's one of those shows that kind of make you feel like, wait, what? This shit is really like 23, 24 minutes long? What? Mm-hmm. That's crazy.
Next we're gonna go into characters you fuck with. So Elijah, you wanna go first?
Characters that I fuck with, no. For this one, there's a lot of characters in here, actually, more to like, more to dislike, but I was really fucking with somebody who kind of popped in towards the end. We don't really know her name like that. I think it's Hamui. But she's a member of the Knights of the Ashen Flame, and she was kind of hanging around while Shinra and Sho were fighting in the last scenes. She wears like a gold visor. The reason why I fuck with or kind of want to see more from her is because she, I believe, has an Adola Burst.
A new Adola Burst will soon be born.
And she's been around with the Knights of the Ashen Flame from she was a child. Like, we later find out when we find out this whole big spoiler, she was a part of the initial fire at Shinra's home from the time she was a child. So I believe she has a Adola Burst and probably might even be a 4th generation pyrokinetic. She might have been to Adola since she's been there so long. So I want to see what the fuck she can do, because she stopped the fight. She seems like a badass.
Yeah, I doubt Shinra and Sho are the only 2 people.
Well, they mentioned a couple times in the show, like, Shinra was the last piece. Like, we were looking for you. We needed the devil's footprints or whatever. Right. Like, he was the last piece. So they must have other pieces.
Like, they're putting together some type of satanic puzzle.
Like, crazy. Crazy.
Character that I fuck with. If I have to, gun to my head, have to decide, I'm gonna go with, because it was challenging for me for this one, because there was a lot of great talents, but at the end of the day,
I only have one photo in my hands,
and only one girl can stay. So, I'm gonna go with Vulcan, because Yes. Okay. See, I felt the judgment coming, and that's why I was thinking. But okay. So Vulcan is a non-generation. He essentially doesn't have any pyrokinetic abilities. He's also obviously not an infernal. But the reason I chose Vulcan was because he is the team's newly recruited engineer. So we saw in the last battle, he was actually able, in the short time that he spent with the team, he was able to develop like these boosters for Maki to amplify her second generation powers. So what I'm curious to see is how he's gonna elevate the rest of the team, because I don't think they have him there just to clean the truck.
True.
So I can see him maybe giving Arthur a better scabbard so that his flame can be stronger from
Arthur
the sword.
Like give him.
I don't think there's anything much that
or maybe they'll give him another plush horse.
Get off of him. I don't think there's anything much that Vulcan can probably do for Shinra, who's the main protagonist, but I definitely see him beefing up the rest of the team's offensive capabilities.
Yeah.
You know,
that's decent.
Yeah, because they have like 2 second generations, and then I think that he can do something for third generation Arthur, and he can do something for no generation ass Obi, who is the captain.
You leave
Obi, the little truck that could.
Obi be taking forever to get ready, but that should be fucking hilarious. But moving on, we gotta lock that bitch in for Fire Force. Shay.
Predictions. I am going to lock in that Shinra is going to have to kill his mom. So that was the show's big revelation at the end of season 1, and I don't think that there is a cure, or I don't think that there will be a cure in time for Shinra to save his mom, and obviously he can't just keep her, chained in his basement.
She's been in the train system for decades.
But you see how filthy that shit is? She's fine to roam around down there.
I found you once, I'll find you again. Just stay down there.
I feel like, as with anime,
you
don't get everything that you want. You don't have a happy ending, okay? So it's gonna be
the animes we watch.
It's gonna be his mom, or it's gonna be his brother. And I don't think that they're gonna kill off his brother, because his brother's a more valuable character.
Wow. Understood. Okay.
Lock
that bitch in. Heard that. Okay, so I'm gonna lock in that when all the Adola bursts are put together, it's gonna create something.
The second great cataclysm, or just?
It's more than just a second great cataclysm. I think it's gonna create like this new power. I think like it's more. There's more to it than just bringing about the great cataclysm. Like we've seen this in other shows where Black Clover, they wanted to bring back the elves, but they weren't telling all these other people that. They were like, oh, you're all gonna graduate to your greater beings when you do this crazy shit for me. So now like they're over here trying to bring about the end of the world, and it's like, well, what the fuck is gonna happen when we get our goal? We have all these Adola bursts. For me? So I know he's probably gonna sacrifice all his little followers, but what's gonna happen? So I think once you get the Adola burst, they're the keys, and some crazy shit is gonna spark. That's not just the Great Cataclysm. So I'm gonna go ahead and.
Oh, you think that they have like a
ulterior
motive?
Yeah, you can't trust these motherfuckers. I don't trust them.
Last but not least, let's get into our ratings.
Rate.
I'm gonna give Fire Force a 7.8. 7.8. I'm comfortable with that. So the reason for that is, like we said, this show there was a lot of action. There was ample action to keep me satisfied. Like, I thoroughly enjoyed binging this show. It was like nary a down moment. Yes, the characters had time for development, but even when they were like developing and doing like their training, they were still clapping ass at the same time. So it was very consistent with the action. I like the characters that were introduced. Like, I like the squad. I like the team. So, the main character isn't holding everything down all the time. That was relatable. One of the things that did irritate me a little bit about the show was just that the way they introduced themes was kind of confusing to me. Elijah and I had many discussions about the merits of Adola Link, and Adola Burst.
It needs to completely make sense.
Yeah, so maybe that's just because it's the first season. They didn't want to give too much information away about what those concepts were. But at certain
they could have
points,
done it a little bit better.
Yeah, because it was so integrated to the show that it could get confusing to know, okay, what do you what is the criteria for this.
But that kind of sucks because like sometimes when shows they kind of like pack it in, like they're like they'll repeat this something at the beginning to make sure you understand what they're talking about. Like Dr. Stone kind of did that too. Like in a year after so many people being turned to stone, it's like okay, we packed it in. It's like you don't want to hear that every episode.
Oh, gotcha.
But then sometimes they try to put it in and it's confusing, and you almost wish that they did it the other way. But
But that's why I give it a 7.8. Definitely will be watching season 2, and it looks like they're gonna continue based on what I saw from the trailer. It looks lit. I'm gonna end it
there. Word. I'm gonna give Fire Force a solid 8. Like Fire Force for me, it gave me a lot of characters, and I love that. Like when you give me a nice pocket of characters, and they kept introducing people, and it was almost as like they were going through a list, going to the top. Like the more they were introducing people, the more you saw like somebody was more fire than the other. It's like boom, you thought Team 8 was cool, now you're gonna meet Team 7's captain, and Team 7's gonna be kicking ass, and Team 7's cool, they go to get Vulcan, and boom, here comes Show, and then you think Show's all cool, boom, Shinra activates this. Like they kind of kept you on your toes, and I love that. And it was just really dope. So dope characters, dope plot line. They left a lot of holes to be filled in for season 2 too. So even though they were super detailed in season 1, I felt like the way they ended it, and it was super like abrupt. Only when you think about it. Yeah, when you think about it, you're like, okay, they ended it abruptly with like this big cliffhanger.
But I guess they usually do.
Yeah,
like.
But then there's other shit that it's like, okay, wait, what's gonna happen to Show? Because Show was like, showing progress was coming towards the side. So what's going to happen to him after this? Like, what is their ultimate goal? What's going to happen to Shinra? Can he, learn to use his 4th generation ability, or is it only going to be detrimental to him and his health? Like, his mom. Like, there's so much shit. So
where are we going, guys?
I love shows that leave a lot because I feel like it can go past the season 2, and I love that. I like longevity. So they're sitting at an 8 right now. Let's hope that they keep it.
I think they will.